of Hiroshima. I didn't get to ground zero, but I was on the outskirts of it, yeah. And there wasn't nothing there on the outskirts. I don't know what the ground zero was. God, maybe, I don't know if there was a crater there or not. I don't know. If it was filled in. I don't know.
Wow. So when you were in Korea, did you spend any time with the Koreans? Did you ever see any people that weren't in the military but were just civilians?
Oh yeah, there's the people in town. Yeah, they had little stores, and we visited them. Maybe to buy souvenirs and buy beer and stuff like this. Yeah, we had. I didn't get as close to the Koreans as I did to the Japanese. I guess when I was in Korea, I wasn't there long enough to really know where too much to go, where to go, and there wasn't much to see in Korea. Everything was gone, blowing up too, But Japan, there was a lot to see, a lot of things that Mount Fujiyama and rode the trains, and it was exciting, Tokyo was. There was a lot of big buildings in Tokyo, and bridges and shrines and stuff like that. They weren't touched.
Were you in Korea? Were you stationed at a base?
Yes.
And were you near a? Did you have the ability to leave the base and go around the towns?
Oh, pretty much so. Yeah, you could. The base I was at was called K-13. And yeah, we could go. We could go out. After your job was done, or you couldn't. If you weren't needed for the day, we had time off to go to town and just look around. Not much. I think I went in town about 3 times. That was it. In the 6 weeks I was there. We were working quite a bit, doing a lot of planes as quick as we could. Yeah.
So, what kind of repairs did you do on different types of aircraft?
It was all on the F-86s, Fighter 86. It was a little bar that just went on the wing, on each wing, to stiffen it up, because the wings were cracking a little. There was a little hairline crack on. Not every plane, but on some of them they found it. So they come out with this, we called it a bowling bar. We'd have to stick in one top and bottom, and then that strengthened the beam or spar, or whatever you want to call it, on the wings. That was it. It was nothing really major, We'd re-drill it and ream it, and then we had special bolts to put in there.
How many hours a day would you usually be doing that?
Oh, it took about an hour to do the job. Maybe less than an hour. But to take the wings off, to help the other guys take the wings off and then turn them over, that was about a 4 or 5 hour job just to get the wings off. Just to get one wing off, and we were taking both of them off at the same time, 2 crews. Or they had crews, 2 crews, but we would do both wings once they're off. So, yeah, that's it. It was almost a day for each plane.
How many people were in a crew?
In my crew, it was 4 of us. And then on the wings, I don't remember how many mechanics they had taking the wings off. There's probably 4 or 5 on there too.
Where in Korea were you positioned?
Where were we at?
Yeah.
It was, I'm going to say right by, it was called Kimpo. I think the town was Kimpo. I don't remember. kind of right, right. Wasn't too far from the line from the 38th parallel. Maybe 50, 60 miles, I guess, something like that, from the 38th parallel, where we're between the north and the south.
When you got, when did you leave to go back home to the States?
In October of 1955.
Was it, when you got home, was it difficult to adjust back to civilian life?
Not really.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. There was no fanfare, there was no parades, there was nothing. Nobody cared one way or the other. Forgotten war, they called it. They didn't care. It wasn't what they get nowadays, for these guys. No, they didn't care. 54,000 guys were killed in war, in Korean War. I don't know how many wounded. It was a lot. It was a lot. Considering the war was only 3 years old. Vietnam went to, 10 years? And they had 54,000 killed there. So you can see how many were killed real quick in Korea.
How was the country different when you got back? Was there any major changes that had occurred?
No, not so much. A lot of my friends were all married. That was about it, man. Other than that, the bars things were still there. Cars were a little newer. No, some of the guys were still the same. But a lot of the girls got married, and it wasn't like we just got out of high school and we left. It was we were now 22 and 23 years old now. We were, what the hell, 18 and 19 when we left. You're not a teenager no more. You can't do teenage stuff. You can't get by with that stuff anymore. You were an adult now or whatever. We could go into bars and drink legally. We lost 4 years of being at home, but we had 4 years of growing up in other parts of the world. That we didn't have Mama to take care of us or Daddy. We were on our own, which is maybe a good thing. We grew up a lot. We grew up fast, I think. Yeah.
When you came back, did you have a job waiting for you, or did you have to find employment?
No, I come back and I was a sheet metal worker. I started my apprenticeship before I left. So when I come back, I just went back into my apprenticeship and finished that up in 4 years. I had 6 months into it when I left, and I think I had another 3.5 years or so after I got back before I became a journeyman sheet metal worker.
Did you work for a sheet metal company, or was it a family?
It was a family company. We had a sheet metal roofing company at that time.
So you were trained by your dad?
Yeah, pretty much so. I worked for my dad. I worked with other guys, other men. Yeah.
How do you think the Army influenced you throughout your entire life? Like, you just spending those years in the military?
Well, I think it is. I I was not a neat freak, but I did pick up after myself. I don't know. Other than that, God, I'm trying to think of how to say. I respected authority, but I didn't. Some of the people I was supposed to respect were dumb shits. And it's hard to, yeah, I really wouldn't follow directions all the time now. I kind of made my own. I didn't believe everybody, when they said, oh, go, somebody said jump off the lake, I wouldn't do it now. I would say, hey, I don't think so. You go first, or something like that. While you're in the service, you're pretty hard to question everything, But now I'm my own boss, and I use my mind instead of somebody else's, Yeah, I guess that was probably about it.
Did you keep in contact with any of your buddies?
No, sorry to say I don't. I did for a while. I was one or two of them, but then they just kind of petered out. Whether it was me had quit or they quit, I quit answering them. I don't remember. But I don't know. I don't see any or hear. The guys I went in with, I see all the time. But the guys I met in the service, I don't know. They're all gone. I don't know nothing get together with them. But that the five of us that we drove, that enlisted together, I see all the time. I mean, all the time. Played golf with one today.
Okay. Well, thank you.
That's it?
Yeah. Thank you for the
You're welcome.
information. It's very, very interesting.